Hello again and welcome back to Mikey's Flightdeck, today with another live stream. And good to see that some people are already here. I will have a look here, 14 people we have here now in the stream. And let's welcome you all who have made the way here. As we have here Stefan, welcome back here to the stream. Have you missed one stream until now? I don't know. Nope, hello, and Peter, good to have you here again. And where have we on? James, hello, Tim, hi, good evening. Jimmy is also here, hello. And here we already have the first question. What is the name of the intro music? I can say it. It's On My Way Home, and you can find this in the YouTube sound library. And the end of this song I'm using in all my videos. Casper Marcus, hello, and Farley, hello, good to have you here from Brazil. What time is it in Brazil? I think here in Germany it is prime time, 8 o'clock. And good, the life is beautiful, that's good. Okay, we are back here in the cockpit. I thought the scenery is the best I can give to you, and it makes more the feeling better here than sitting in my chair in my room. Etienne, hi, hello, good to have you here. So I'm looking here in the chat while I'm coming to my first topic for today, and this is the glarewing video I've made. Last week? No, I think 10 days it's out now. And yes, what can I say? You can see them already here. There they are, the glarewings. They have finally finished. And guys, this was a lot of work. I know in a video that goes very fast forward, and I'm putting together all the parts, and it comes straight from the design to the finish. But that was a long way until there, and I had to think how to make some parts of this, especially the electronics, is a very new topic to me, and I'm always thinking how I can do this. I'm still in the beginning class of electronics, I think. So, and one thing I have to say, the video would have been out earlier if there wouldn't be a mistake what cost me much time to find this. And this was already at the end of the video when I'm capturing all the things in ProSim and the Mobiflight stuff. And I programmed all the switches in Mobiflight, and then I was ready to film the fire annunciator button, which should work when I push it, and I pushed it and nothing, and nothing came, no signal from the fire button, and I tested this. It was connected, ready, and all right. The cables were connected all right, and no signal was coming here. And then after I think 3 days I found out what was the problem, and this I want to show to you, so you can have another idea when you have such problems. And I show this here. Here you have the Arduino Megger. I think most of you use when you are using Mobiflight. And what happened, I have connected my button here at one of these pins here, and here in the middle you can see 6 pins, and the most right pin here was bent to the middle, and so there was a short circuit between these 2 pins here. I must have laid something onto the Arduino, a book or something like this, and this shortcut between these 2 pins was the reason that a pin here at the end didn't give out any signals to the computer. And when I solved this short circuit, then everything worked fine. But this cost me 3 days to find this. Okay. So let's have a look at some questions here. What do you do for a living? Yes, the craftsmanship is beautiful and you seem way over average with computers as well. Yes, I studied computer science, but I'm not working very deep in it anymore. And so programming is not new to me, but I'm not the high skilled programmer, and so this is also a reason why I quitted my first try to program everything on my own in the Arduino and switched to Mobiflight. I'm working in an insurance company and I'm doing computer stuff there, making new programs and so on. 3 o'clock in Brazil. Okay, then it's not too early for you. Okay. Your cockpit is so real already. Yes, real. Beside the fact that every panel here is printed until now. But those of you who follow my Instagram account might have seen already that I was measuring here these lower overhead panels and I'm preparing them already. I have, I got all the drawings from Preeta, thanks again for this, but this is, I think it was a little bigger. I think you made your overhead 68 centimeters wide and I have here 65 centimeters, 65.7 for the lower overhead panel. And then I thought, what can I do now? I fed this when I made the eyebrow windows. I hope you hear me, I can take away some material here to get more space, but to repair this again would be really difficult and I don't think this would look very nice. And so I said to me, you have made an overhead here frame and it sits in the cockpit, and so let's take these measurements as a base for your new overhead. And now over a week I'm sitting over the overhead drawings and adapt them to my needs here. So I don't know how much work this would be when I would have done everything from scratch, but I can say it's enough work even when I'm starting with a very good base here. So, hello from South Africa. I'm amazed at the work you have done. Congratulations. Love to watch your videos. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Bernard. So, greetings from Poland. Hello, back to Poland. So, very professional workmanship and everything. Yeah, it's good that I have enough filler here to repair all the scratches I do here in the cockpit work. I do my best to let it look as real as I can, but it doesn't come out well always at the first try, so it's only so good for the videos. Okay, let's talk about the next steps in the cockpit. What are my plans for the near future? Because I don't want to speak for the far future. I have seen that doesn't make much sense because from time to time I change my plans and then this wouldn't make sense to say tell you the next 10 steps or so on. So next step will be the overhead panels and only making the panels. These are in some parts 3 layers of 3mm acrylic I will use here. I know many manufacturers do this from 5mm acrylic. I have bought 3mm and I think this will work fine as well. So I'm drawing all the panels now, and then I want to cut out all the panels and do the painting and engraving, and then try to fit all the panels there on the lower overhead. Yes, maybe I will let out these white panels here, the fuel and what is it, the bus transfer and the hydraulics and the what is it? The other white panels. Okay, the white panels I think are more difficult to make, and so I want to come out with a good solution which I can present you to make those panels. So all the gray blue panels will be made first, and then I will make all the annunciators for the lower overhead. I will make a design in Fusion 360, maybe print it or make make it in some other techniques. I will see what will be more convenient for me, and then build all these annunciators, because in nearly every panel you will need an annunciator to be built in, and so I want to have made these first, and then I will build all the different panel sections. And for example, take the flight panel here up the first panel, and then build it completely and insert all the switches, connect all the switches, insert the annunciators, and show the programming in ProSim and Mobiflight. Okay, I will not show the programming of every panel in a video, because when you got the idea behind connecting a switch, an LED or something like this, then you don't need to see this 100 times again. So I will start with the first panels more in detail, and after this there will come panel after panel a bit faster. For example, 3 panels together in one video or something like this. And then I will make the first gauges here. Try to connect a servo motor and build all these panels, route them, engrave them, maybe print them. I will see what will come out better. And at the end I will come out to the last special panels, which will be the white panels here, and then I will present the technique I came out with to make them and paint them, engrave them. Yes. So have we any questions here again? How are you going to build a yoke? Yes, before I was in this 3D printing topic, I thought to me that I will build the yoke from wood, from MDF for example, and then sand it in shape. But now there are some really good 3D printing plans out there which you can buy. I think the plans that are good you have to buy. But still, if you pay $50 for the plans, it will still save you much time, which I would have to invest when I wouldn't make from wood. So I will see. But right at the moment, I think I will 3D print it. And just the moment I have the GTEC A10 printer, and I think the bed size is enough to print this yoke. It is printed in only a quarter sizes, I think. In 4 pieces you print out this yoke and then screw them together. And when you cover this with filler and paint, I think this will be a very good result. How does the future look like? You're going to buy any replica or even OEM to use the cockpit, or is the goal 100% homemade? Yes, the goal is 100% homemade indeed, yes. Have I bought anything until now? No, nothing. The switches, of course, switches, servo motors. Okay, this I will buy, but I'm still not willing to buy those very expensive switches. You all know, especially all the big switches here and on these white panels also are those locking switches which you have to pull out, and then you can put them in the right position you want to have them, and they have this this lock in the middle so you can't accidentally switch it. And these switches are so expensive when you want to buy the right size. I don't know, $6, $7 the switch, and this is a cheap price. I think you can spend way more money for these switches. And I said, for me, this is the realism which would be nice to have in the cockpit, but not for this price. And so I have bought big switches, yes, but not locking switches. And I will see, maybe in the future when there is more money, and I don't have to spend money in building this thing and just increase the thing, then maybe I can buy such locking switches, but not now. And the rest, yes, will be homemade. I'm a little bit afraid when I think at the throttle, for example. This will be a really big project, and all these metal parts, the pedals, which will be connected and so on. So this will be really exciting to make. So Embraer 119 is next. No, definitely not. I don't know if I said this before when I started with this flight simulation and cockpit building topic. I wanted to make either the Jetstream 4100 PMDG have it in its program, and this was a plane I thought for me this I could build because it is big enough to travel longer routes. You can reach everything in Europe with this, and small enough to land on even smaller airports. But now I think you wouldn't have found much software for this and parts and measurements, and so it has become the Boeing 737. But I think I'm really happy with this. The Boeing isn't too big to not be able to land in many airports like the Boeing 747, for example. So, what questions do we have here? Backlight in aluminum from your local Shima shop, and second later is plastic engraved, makes a solid construction. Yes, aluminum. Yes, I know many people are building from aluminum. Always when you have to buy special parts like metal and something like this. I couldn't cut metal in these sizes here. It's really difficult to get, and when you go into these shops which are working with this metal, and you come in as a small customer and want to have some metal, yes, you don't get often good prices here, and I'm really happy with this acrylic just now, so I will try this with the acrylic. Let's see. I have the base will still be MDF in the MIP. We will see how this will come out. What flight simulator do you plan on using to run this beauty? Oh, it's a beauty. I'm planning to use Prepared and just until now everything works in prepared. Not that I have connected much to prepared until now, but ProSim works with it good, and I think this is one of the reasons why I don't switch to X-Plane at the moment. This is, I said this in the last live stream. It's nearly religious topic here, choosing X-Plane or prepared. I have chosen prepared because I have used the FSX before, and it was not a big change for me. And many people asking, why don't you use simvim to connect your Arduino? Yes, guys, simvim is for X-Plane, and this is the reason I can't use it. And even if simvim has some good features, like multiplexing, I have programmed when I was in the steps when I programmed the Arduino myself. Then I had programmed a little bit of multiplexing in it with the I don't know which with a Max one of the Max chips, and with the Mobiflight you have to use one pin for every LED or switch you want to use. So I think this is one of the disadvantages of Mobiflight to simvim. Yes, but the Arduino isn't expensive anymore, and so I don't know if you are following Carl's channel, the 737 DIY. He is using 25 Arduino Megas in his cockpit without any problems. Have we any other questions here? I printed the jokes, yes, Peter, but very difficult the sending. I try ABS and PLA also, yeah. Sending 3D printed parts is really difficult, and I think the only way you can use is a spray filler. You find this in car painting shops. It's just a filler you spray onto the hosting and try to hide all these layers of a 3D printer, and then you have to increase your printing quality. Don't print in 0.3 millimeter layer height, but print in 0.1 millimeter layer height. This will make a big difference in the wall appearance. So I want to make an announcement first before we come to all the other questions here. And for this I have prepared something here. So guys, the FSWeekend is coming. FSWeekend on the 2nd and the 3rd November this year in Lelystad in the Netherlands. I think for some of you it's a home game. You don't have to travel long distance. For me, I was there the last year. I think 3.5, 4 hours for me to get there. But I will definitely be there again on Saturday, the 2nd November. And so everyone who want to meet me in real life, I will this time make one time where I will be at a special place, I think, and then everyone we can meet each other surely, because it's a very crowded place, and when I make my rounds there for filming things, then we will miss each other. So I think 12:30 I will have lunch there, and then we can meet there in the dining room, and let's have a little bit talking together. Last year it was wonderful to be there, and from time to time a person said, "Hey, are you the one from YouTube?" And then they are showing their cockpits and what they built, and One of them showed me he is using original parts from a Boeing, and he is buying original parts, renewing them and selling them again. So very interesting topics there we discussed. So this time I will make a fixed time where we can meet. I will make an announcement on YouTube here just before the FS Weekend again, so only if not everyone is seeing this here. Yes, the FS Weekend. Who wasn't there of you, go there. It's definitely a great event, and you can see very full-size simulators, an F-16 simulator, and reworking homemade motion platforms, for example. So really interesting to be there. I will be there on the 2nd of November. So let's look to some other questions here. Yes, the other question was, will I use original parts in this Boeing? No, I think to have original parts must be cool in a cockpit. But then I think when you have some original parts, especially original panels, then you have to have all of the panel as an original part. I have seen people buying, for example, only the fuel panel as an original part and have homemade everything else. And I think this, for me, this wouldn't look right. And they are very expensive, and for me, I don't think I wouldn't spend so much money for a part which I can build by myself, only for knowing that it has flown in a real Boeing for years. And some of the parts are looking so dirty, I don't even want to touch them. So okay, original parts can be cool, but is not an option for me. So, battling with warping programs at the moment. I'm using Wobbleizer. What will you use? I don't know. If I use which program I will use. I think FlyElise is one warping software many of the people are using, but the whole projector topic and warping topic will be at the very end of this project. First of all, I want to have everything inside here working, and then I will come to the sceneries and yes, and the outside display here before I think of a warping software. First of all, I will install a big screen here. I have an old television from my father, and this I will mount there, and this will be good enough for the first testings. Yes, but I think, yes, FlyElise could be a solution. Yes, I will see what will be top of the pops when I'm finished with this here. And I think I will still need 4 or 5 years to finish all this. This is one question what I get from time to time. How much time will you use to finish this here? And 4 to 5 years, I think, could be realistic. Yes, another question I get from time to time: can you make parts for me? No, I'm always saying no. I can't do this. Of course, I could do parts for you. Engrave a panel, cut it out, paint it, and engrave it. But for what price? When I would make this for you, I would make this commercially, and then I would have to pay taxes on this, and then with all these taxes I would have to take a price that would show my working time and all the materials I've used for this. Even if the materials are the the smallest part of this, all the time I'm investing to make such an individual panel for you is so high that I couldn't make it to a price that you would like. So go to Open Cockpits or any other cheap manufacturer, you will find definitely cheaper panels than I could make for you. So, hello, what is the coolest thing you have learned and also the worst mistake you have made and learned from? The worst mistake. Yes, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the stream, Captain Bob. The short circuit on the 2 pins of the Arduino Mega, which caused one of the pins not working anymore. This was one of the mistakes I thought, yeah, I don't want to make again, and I will have a look twice on all these pins of the Arduino before I will say there is a software problem or a soldering problem here. And the coolest thing I've made, cheers, I think when I started making all this stuff with this acrylic one, glass close and this foam here, all these windows here, and especially the eyebrow windows. These are some parts I find really cool, and I have learned about using glass close for the first time, and the how to finish the surface so that it looks good. Yes. When I look to programming, then connecting the Arduino with ProSim, which I have done some years before I have connected the Arduino with the PMDG just for testing purposes. And when I really switched my first hardware switch for the first time and seeing the switch in the PMDG moving, that was a great feeling for me. Hey GS, do you still fly a flight sim while building the cockpit, or do you enjoy building more than actually simming? Couldn't do without a virtual flight for so long. Yes, that's always the question. Will I invest the time I have in the evenings flying the Boeing 737 on my computer? Or am I going down to my shop and working at my real size simulator? I only can make one of the things, yes. Truly, it is that I'm nearly don't fly anymore on the computer, and I'm spending all the time here working at the sim. There was one time, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, when I said, now it's the time. I want to fly the 737 again, and I flew the PMDG tutorial from London Gatwick to Amsterdam Schiphol, and I've seen that I forgot nearly everything in the Boeing, what to do and how to use this autopilot. I couldn't even land this thing correctly, even with autopilot. And this showed me I have a big project. When I have finished this thing here, then I can learn everything from beginning on. But I think this can be also a cool video series. Not all these simmers showing the perfect flight and the perfect bottle landing on YouTube. You can watch me learning this thing flying in a real size simulator. Could also be fun to watch. How are you going to cut out the displays for the MIP? Yes, Brent. I'm not cutting anything from the MIP because I'm working on the overhead this time. And then I have to say, after the overhead, I'm thinking about starting with a pedestal, for example. And let me tell you why. Because when I will have to work at the MIP here, then I will have to face the fact that I will need to install monitors in the near future. And when I will have to install the monitors, then I will need a dedicated computer, which will always be here in the simulator room. And just the moment I have in use only my own PC in my room, which I have now transported for the live stream here down in the cockpit, but I will have to bring it up again tomorrow. But then I have one old computer in the corner of a room there, but I don't think that this could run the simulator. Yes, and all these stuff is really difficult and can be expensive to get new monitors for this year. I think you can also install used monitors. Okay, I will have to find monitors, but this is something that prevents me from starting with the MIP. And the pedestal, there are only panels to make, and I can finish them with all the hardware I can easily get. Just switches, annunciators, some knobs, and so on, a little bit cable. Yes, but then there will come the MIP, and I think this will be one great moment in the cockpit when the first monitor shows the display here. So, Portuguese 737 project. Hi. Hello. Can I drink a beer with you? I'm not drinking. I'm drinking never beer. You can spend me a Coke or something like this. I will definitely drink a Coke with you. But it will be cool to have you here and bring pictures of your cockpit projects with you. We will have a look at this. And this is something I liked really at the FSWeekend last year, because young and old people are in this hobby and showing their cockpits in different ways. The younger peoples, they get out their smartphones, tablets, and show you the pictures of the things they've made. And I've seen one older guy who has printed out at home before he went there some pictures of his cockpit and laminated them even and showed them to the audience. So, Stefan, I have ordered Arduino Megas on AliExpress for almost €7 each. Testing them and they are working perfectly. Yes, that's around the price I'm aiming for with the Arduino Megas. I have ordered 3 now to get forward here with the cockpit, and I wanted to have them a little bit faster. So I think I spent 9 or was it 10 bucks for this, just to have them a little bit quicker to get them delivered from inner Europe and not from China. But later, okay, when you need more of them, then you can definitely order from AliExpress. All my switches came from there, but it can be a problem when you want to produce a video and the shipping time is nearly 4 or 5 weeks. So this can be a problem if you want to come out with a new video. So I have to think a little bit in the future, what will I need the next 3 or 4 steps in the cockpit, so I can order things now. And this can be very tricky because sometimes I don't know now how to make a special thing in 4 steps in the future. So, awesome job with the live stream. It's extremely high quality. Yes, it's only a effect of light. Bringing enough light here in the room, then the quality goes even better. When I'm looking down here, I'm nearly blinded because of all these spots I've installed here. So, look, Heiji, looking forward to your maiden flight on a live stream in 5 years. Who knows what has changed since then? The simming and the hardware world. Yes. Okay. When I want to start my first flight, then prepared is already cancelled, and I have to change to the next software which will come. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I think it's very much hyped these days. Let's see what will come out there. So, are there any questions I've written down here? I get questions which tools for cutting and engraving I am using, and this I can want to say in short. For cutting out wood, I'm using a 3mm bit with 2 blades in the CNC router, and with it I'm cutting plywood and MDF, for example. For cutting out acrylic, I'm using a 2mm single flute bit, and for engraving it, I'm using a 30-degree engraving tool. Yes, and I'm engraving, I think you have seen this, I've shown this in the video, 0.17 millimeters up to 0.2 millimeters deep, and with this I get good results. In the last video, I think you saw this, I ruined my 30-degree engraving tool, and I didn't want to wait until the new tool arrived here, and I had a 60-degree engraving tool, and with this I have made these 6-pack annunciators here in the glarewings, and this also worked well. I can't see any difference in this. So if you use 30 degrees or 60 degrees, I think this won't make any difference, especially when you only engrave in these small values, 0.1, 0.2 millimeters. I think when you engrave 1 millimeter or so, this will make a difference. There is a next topic here, and this has to do with this engraving. And the engravings in these panels are very good visible when you do backlighting with them. But if it is not backlighted, then it is not as good visible. And to solve this problem, I'm thinking a little bit of filling these things with any kind of material. You have seen in my last video I've used these filling wax. This worked really well. You have to engrave a little bit deeper, I think 0.2, 0.25 millimeters, so that the wax can hold in a good groove. But I think it will prevent light from coming through, and so I will test a filling lacquer to use in an engraving, which can be white, for example, and then it would be more visible when no backlighting is switched in. And another one here who is watching my channel also has made a test. He has bought this lacquer and made a test here, and he sent me pictures of the results, and this I want to share with you because it is really interesting what kind of came out there. So here you can see the result. In the upper left corner here there is the laser engraved panel here. I think everything is clear, really visible when you know the engraving is there, but you already can see it is not as bright to see as it should be. And then you start with this filling lacquer here in the upper right corner. You insert this lacquer into the groove, rub it in a little bit, and then you have to try to remove all the other lacquer here. And you can see here in, can you see this? There in this last picture, it didn't remove all the lacquer at the end, and it stayed on the painted panel, and this is something you don't want to have. Yes, I will make some tries with normal water-based lacquer, for example, which will be thinned, and maybe I can wipe this away again better. I will see with what I can come out there. So I will make some tests, and if the result is good and this is something you could also use in your cockpit, then I will present this in a video too. So what have we have talked about? One of the next steps, especially when I'm making these annunciators, can be the making of PCBs with the CNC router. I have not decided how to install the LEDs into the bottom of these annunciators. No? All these lights here in the overhead. The real ones have also a button. There's a push function to test if an LED is broken. So you can push this annunciator and the light flashes up, I think, and then you can see it still works. Yes, but I think for me, I don't need this feature in my cockpit. When I want to test if an LED is broken, then I can go into the Mobiflight config menu, say test this button, and the light will go on. So I don't simulate light failures here, I think. And so in the first step, I will only produce them with LEDs only in. So what I will need is a PCB that will hold the LED, and I will try to use only one LED in this annunciator. And then I will have to install a resistor too. So resistor and LED will be mounted on this PCB. It will only be a very small one. This can be a good project to start this whole PCB layout topic. And when I will decide to make PCBs in these annunciators, then I will also make a video of how to design such a PCB, how to make it on a CNC router, and how to cover it with some soldering lacquer, for example. So, any other questions here? Frederick, hey Michael, achso, it's in German. Oh, you can give me monitors if you don't need. Yes, of course, we will stay in contact. Of course, yes, that would be great, Frederick. This would be really great. I will get in contact with you. Yes, great job. I look forward to seeing your first flight. Awesome. I'm really excited for this first flight. And I think this must be some dramatically moving with 3 camera angles when I first pull this yoke and going up with a big camera on my face on the first smile when we have the first liftoff. So, and yes, better engrave on opaque acrylic or polystyrol. Yes, I've seen a big difference in the 6-pack annunciator here. So when you are making your 6-pack annunciator, don't make this with clear acrylic. I have bought clear acrylic mostly to use it as backplates for all these other panels here because it is cheaper than white acrylic, for example. And I thought I could use this for the 6-pack annunciator too. And a clear acrylic lets the light through very, very bright. And don't use clear, which is called in English, I think, transparent. Don't use transparent acrylic, but use translucent acrylic. This is also not tinted acrylic, but it is in a sort of milky acrylic, I think you can call this. And this would make a better diffuse light in the 6-pack annunciator. So I have built this so that I can push this out. I think I will replace these with other acrylic when I buy this. I will see. So, Jimmy, never thought of making it a max before you come to FSR into the project. Making it max before? I think you mean a 737 max. No, I never thought of making a 737 max. I don't like the 737 max really, not because they are grounded, but these two big monitors let the Boeing look more like the computer Airbus. Again, I think it is a bit charming to have these small monitors here. So I will stay with a normal 737 NG. Hello Michael, I've asked this before. Please, can you give a part list of your DNC? I think you mean CNC stepper motor controllers. Yes, Jill, I can make a part list. Yes, I will note this here. I will give a list of the parts I've used. Stepper motors. Okay. Yes. I can say all the parts. The electronics I've bought at a German company because I didn't want to buy those electric parts from AliExpress. Yeah, maybe they are manufactured in China anyway. I had a better feeling to get them from here. All the metal hardware and so on came from AliExpress. I will make a list of all these parts. Yes, Frey. I will go in contact with you for the monitors. Cool. Okay. Next, one of the last topics here. I think we have nearly around the hour. Last topics: experience with Mobiflight so far. Yes, I have used Mobiflight in 2 videos now. The first, the introductions, and now using it with the glarewings. And I have to say, it's really, really easy. You don't need any programming skills to use Mobiflight, and it works at once. Okay, if you don't have a shortcut on a short circuit on your Arduino Mega, and if you don't scrap up all your electronics. But if you're soldering everything right together, you can also start on a breadboard, and then it is really only picking, I have connected something to pin number 50, and then going to the other part of Mobiflight saying, now we will use the FSUIPC offset for this, and it works instantly. That was really cool, and I can tell you, I have programmed many times, and when you program something, it nearly never works at once. And this is something Mobiflight does really well. The only thing I don't like, I said it, the lack of multiplexing. Yes, why you can't use I think, is it called MCP 23, something like this chip, where you which is a port expander, which you can connect to only 3 pins of the Arduino, and then you have, I think, nearly 16 new pins, and you can cascade them, make 8 of them together, so 8 by 8 times 16 ports again on with only 3 ports of your Arduino Mega. This would be really great. And yes, I've read in the forum of Mobiflight, they don't implement this because the Arduino is so cheap that the whole programming of this multiplexing and dealing with all these cascaded chips is useless. Okay, I have to believe this. But they are developing Mobiflight really fast, and they are really near to all the problems users have. I know I have started this language topic in the forum when I made my first Mobiflight video, and I couldn't switch the language from German to English because Mobiflight always comes in your system language. And I knew that it was possible to have Mobiflight in English. I've seen this on YouTube before, and I couldn't switch the language to English. And so I asked these questions in the forum. Why can't I change the language? And then they said, yes, this functionality isn't there in Mobiflight. And now, some weeks ago, the new update has this feature. So I don't know if you have reported any problems to Microsoft, for example. This would take a longer time to implement a feature. And this is really nice. Yeah, it works good with ProSim. And also, if you want to connect the PMDG, it works with the PMDG, or I think with any other things which will use FSUIPC offsets. So good software, very stable. One thing I have implemented in my own code, was something that looks how all these switches, hardware switches in your cockpit are arranged, and give this as an initial function to the simulator. This is also something Mobiflight can't do. I've asked this, and I have read many cockpit builders have some sort of checklist for their simulator. So the switches have to be in a special position, and then they start the simulator and the software. Yes, and so they make sure everything is synchronous to the software and the hardware switches. Yes, these are 2 features I'm missing, but all in all, I'm very, very happy with Mobiflight. Maybe I will come back to, when I have more time, and a little bit develop my code, but not in the near future. So I have my doubts about the encoder speed. If you change the digits, walks very slow behind. Multiplex only for LEDs was a great step. GL, I think you mean this when you use the encoder in my own program, I think, because with Mobiflight the encoder was really fast when I turned this, and I have tested it with 7-segment displays. Yes. And here, Peter, hello. Why don't you use simvim? there it is again, the questions. I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the stream. I have said this already. Simvim is for explain, and I'm not using explain. So yes, simvim would be nice, especially there we are again at the multiplexing topic, but I'm using prepared at the moment. We will see what will come in the future, but with prepared I can't use simvim. So, hello, I watch you from France. Then, bon evening, no, not evening, bonjour to France. Why do you stop this project? Axel, I think you mean the programming of the software, yes? I stopped making my own code because the Arduino often lost the connection, and I think it has frozen from time to time. I think I couldn't see this if it is frozen or just making something else. And then there came a time where nearly none of the switches reacts anymore, or the encoder stopped working. This can be something that I could solve out with enough time. But then there came this moment where I had to decide, do I want to invest more time coding, not making any video, but just sitting there coding, testing, and then finally come out with a solution that works? Or will I go to Mobiflight, which is a software which is developed since several years now, and there are people behind this really knowing how to program a microcontroller with techniques I wouldn't know in years. And this is the reason why I changed then to Mobiflight and stopped my programming project. Yes, I'm not the high skill programmer, and there are many people way better than I, especially in this microcontroller programming topic. And so I said, why should I invest so much time when everything is there what I need? And I'm not the first one who is using Mobiflight. You can see on YouTube many other developers have used this for their cockpits with good results, and so I said I will use this. Frederick, do you already know how to make your throttle? No. No, I don't know how to make my throttle. I have throttle plans. I think you all know this. There are 1 or 2 throttle plans out there in the web which can be used. This is non-motorized plans. I want to come out with a motorized throttle. We will see. Carl from 737 DIY is already reassembling his throttle, and I think it is motorized. I think. And he will come out with some plans. Maybe I will use his plans, which will mean I can come out with own plans on my website. Maybe I will develop my own plans. I will have to think this, but this will come in some years. Next in 1 or 2 years, I think I will start this throttle. I said this before. This is something I'm afraid of. This throttle project can be really scary to me because there's very much electronic on very small place. Yes. So last questions now, and then we will have to finish again. Bernard, but if you use a white plexiglass for the top layer that you paint gray and then engrave, wouldn't that solve the white lettering issue? Yes, yes, this would solve the white lettering issue, but this would also prevent light from going through. So really white acrylic stops light getting through it. So I used a plexiglass, an acrylic, which is 30% translucent. And this is still declared being a white acrylic. So this is something you have to think about. Will you have bright colors of your acrylic, or do you want to have the light coming through? And I thought it would be better to let more light through than looking this white. And also when you engrave this, the only thing you see shining through white is the tip of your engraving tool, this which scratches away the paint. More white wouldn't be come through. And I think even if the acrylic is white, this is a too small line to be white enough to be brighter than that what I have now. I think I haven't tested it just because of the cost of getting this white acrylic. Could be a possibility to make a test with this, yes, but when I find a solution with this with a filling lacquer, then I also would paint white the sides of the engraving. You have to think of an engraving like a V, and with a and this part here down in this V. This will be this from the white acrylic you would see. But when I fill this with lacquer, I would also paint all these sides of the engraving, and so I would come out with more white than I could get even with a white acrylic. Maybe this can be a better solution, but we will see. So, have you alternative at ProSim? Project Magenta could be an alternative, and especially when you look at the price. But Project Magenta was the high skill tool years ago, but now at the moment I think there isn't any player out there which has the size of ProSim and it is as high developed. And especially when you want to use prepared. If you're going to explain, I don't know how with simvim and the Zibo mod, for example, which you can reach with this. This can be a solution. I have seen an Austrian builder who has made a complete full-size cockpit based on the PMDG with good frames per second and good performance. So also this is possible, even if everyone is saying, oh, when you are using a PMDG the performance will be low, which I can say, yes, the performance will get lower when you use the PMDG, but he has found solutions, so it can be a possible solution to you. I have shown this, I think, in my first or second live stream. You have to look there. And I'm presenting the page from him. So Jimmy, for sharing your project in detail and with this kind of streams, you make mind-blowing fantastic job. Okay, thank you. I'm doing my best here. I like the live stream from today. I hope you can go for the FSWeekend and maybe we see each other there. I hope this, Stefan, and I think this can be a good finish, a good end for our stream for today. People, thank you for being here. I thought we wouldn't have enough topics to discuss here, but with all your questions for today, it was again a really good time. Thank you for all being here. I hope seeing many of you, if possible, on the FS Weekend in November. Live, I think I will be in December again. I'm planning a little special. I hope everything will work as I'm planning is, and eventually with a special guest then. We will see. Thank you to all for being here, and you can see me again in my next video, hopefully routing and engraving the lower overhead panels. So have a good night, a good day, a good rest weekend, everyone. And I hope we will see us soon back on the flight deck.